guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, Florida. And guess what? It's just one of those days that you dream about every night while you're hugging onto your pillow. We have the brand new 2020 Nissan GTR. This one is really here to be extra special. This is the 50th anniversary edition. Let's talk about the Nissan GTR. So originally, the GTR first hit the streets all the way back in 1970. Because think about it, 50 years, 50 from 2020 equals 1970. That was when it was based off of the Skyline. That's the reason why they called it the Nissan Skyline GTR. Really was that early iteration. What really started shaping the hearts of so many car enthusiasts though, wasn't so much that 1970 model, it was 1989 when Nissan brought back the Skyline GTR after a little bit of a disappearance, and that was the R32. Eventually the R32, of course, would become the R33. R33 became the R34, and now we are still in the current generation of that R35. Now, no longer is it called a Skyline GTR. When they brought the R35, they just called it a straight up GTR because it's not based off of a Nissan Skyline. It's its own vehicle, its own purpose-built sports car. This car, though, is also known as Godzilla. It was the Australians that gave the car that name back in the late 80s into the 1990s with the R32 because the R32 cleaned up shop with a big old broom as it destroyed the competition in the Australian Supercar series. Now, here we are, 2020, with this anniversary edition. There's been some changes. One of those changes, guess what? More horsepower, which we'll get to in a second. But let's go ahead, dive into this 50th anniversary GTR. Right off the bat, I love that they've continued the styling of the headlight design, the housing, all LED, the daytime running lamp. Here's where, yes, a zonk on a GTR. What is going on down here? We have some lower lighting, but this vent is totally non-functional. It's not even an air curtain. So I am gonna zonk that. How could you do that to Godzilla, Nissan? I do like the way that they have the lower lip extension on the corner like this. It's like a metallic black, really pops well with the Bayside Blue. This is the color. R34, probably the most loved, the most wanted, the most cherished, the most lusted after. That's the last time you saw this color. So this is the first time since that R34 generation. Now, as we come across the front, you can see how we have that dark black metallic blending in well with that lower lip spoiler on each corner. Nice large opening. There's Nissan's signature V-grille. I like the brushed aluminum look that they give. Really, really wild. Here's a little fun fact. If you watch the IMSA WeatherTech series and you're looking at the DPI class, which are the prototypes, there is a Nissan prototype car. It's not factory backed, but it's a privateer team. It's Core Autosports. They actually use the same grille area on the race car as this GTR has. I love the GTR badging, especially the way they take the R, enlarge it, bright red, and then you have the open grille, both matching flat black top and bottom. You can see how the integrated lower lip spoiler really extends far out. It's even farther than what's on the corner. That's going to give more downforce, and that's going to help scoop air into the radiators, intercoolers, and all that. But from one side to the other, really loving the shape, and I love the cutout. And you can see it so clear with that Bayside Blue. Now, when we go up under the hood, one of the things for the 50th anniversary is this racing stripe. I'm not loving it. I wish they would have done something a little different for the 50th anniversary. I'm not going to zonk it, but I'm not loving it. I will zonk it at the end, you'll see. We do have that same metallic black paint for the two NACA ducts right here on the hood. Those are functioning and they look oh so good. We come around the bend, you can see the aerodynamic work that went into this car. The extension down here into this fender, and then feast your eyes on these wheels. Special trim for the 50th anniversary. So you have the Bayside Blue trim on the wheel. It is a 20-inch wheel, and then those rotors, they're two-piece rotors, over 16 inches in diameter. That is the size of some rims on cars, if you could believe that. And then look at this Fort Knox gold caliper Love the way it looks with the Nissan logo, the Brembo branding. Of course, that's going to be that Brembo technology. All the technology that's in this car was developed on the racetracks. For 2020, they revised some of the damping of the suspension and really have given it some tweaks structurally and horsepower wise. But I like the design of this wheel. If you're wondering, well, what is the size of this thing? So you're basically looking at a 255 40 series sidewall, and it just fits it perfect. As we go down the rest of the fender, I really like this brushed aluminum trim that they have here, the GTR badging, functional heat extractors on the side. That is going to help with aerodynamics, and it's also going to help with cutting down the heat from underneath that hood. Remember, we're talking about a V6 twin turbocharged. Love the roof design on these GTRs, and I think it's so smart the way they black out the A pillars. Really nice lines, especially down low, the way it comes off the vent here and right into the belt line of the door. You can see we do slim and trim on the door handles, nice and flush. Very interesting rear quarter window. I love the shape of it. I think it gives such identity to the roof line and just the side profile of the car. And then as we come to the rear, look at how wide the fenders are. I'm gonna have Tom drop down because I wanna show off these rear wheels. Let me swing back around here. One thing I don't know if Tom was able to show on the front wheels, this is 50th anniversary script right on the wheels. They are forged, nice and light. They're made by Rays. That's another company. Look at the rear caliper, the size of it. The rotor, that's over 15-inch rotor on the rear. Remember, a lot of times you don't see big, huge rotors on the rear or calipers because all that weight is going forward, but this Nissan is gonna stick. 285 on the width, so you're not getting big, huge steamroller, with tires like a 315, but still with the all-wheel drive, gonna keep it planted. I love the little touches of the venting down low, and then as we come up, that rear spoiler, and then get ready for a song. Now, I do like the spoiler. What I don't like is if you're gonna go racing stripe, the racing stripe needs to go all the way down to the bumper line. That's a rule that I live by. Another thing I'm gonna zonk is this 50th anniversary badge. It looks tacky. It literally does not fit the design and just focus of this car. And to make matters worse, they have a 50th anniversary badge under the GTR badge. So why do we need this one? If you would have took the white stripe and brought it all the way down, I think that would suffice. You can see the large exits of this upgraded titanium exhaust. So you have a full titanium exhaust. I love the blue tips, really goes well with, obviously, Bayside Blue. You got some carbon fiber here, a little bit of flat silver, but from one side to the other, just nice, low, and wide, and those iconic round taillights. Speaking of iconic, let's go ahead and pop the hood of Godzilla and check out its heart. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on the GTR. Let's take a look at the heart of Godzilla. What you're looking at is that 3.8 liter V6 twin turbo for 2020 for the anniversary edition. We have some revised turbos, intercoolers. All that is going to equate to 565 horsepower, 481 pound-feet of torque. I mentioned earlier there's an upgraded full titanium exhaust system. It's still mated through that 6-speed DCT that's been there since the introduction of the R35. It has been updated though. They really have worked on the gearing and especially going into reverse to kind of quiet things up. Also, if you're wondering, well, what is the weight of this? You're looking at 3,933 pounds. She may not be the lightest car here, but you know what? Still 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds, 3 seconds flat. Very, very incredible performer. I like the way, if you look, first of all, I think Tom was showing you underneath the hood, those are those functional vents up top. That's where they're gonna come down. And then if you look at this engine, you'll see that it was hand built. I think it's got one of the sexiest intake plenums. And when I say intake plenum, we're talking about this guy right here. Look at how you got the dual sides coming into, you can see the individual runners. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that equals 6. It's a V6. Love the design. May not have the iconic soul of the R32, that RB26, a straight 6. But you know what? Performance-wise, definitely the numbers are there. We are gonna zonk this though. What is going on with Godzilla to give it a pop rod? We need to have hood struts on a car, especially at this price point, but let's go ahead. Let's get to one of the best parts. Let's fire up this GTR and see what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the GTR. Anytime I get in one of these cars, it just makes me giggle like a little kid. I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, I've been thinking about a GTR for a while. I kind of want that Bayside Blue, that classic color. How much is this one? MSRP is right at $125,000. There have been revisions from the 2019, plus you're getting that special paint job and everything. Let's see what else you get to the door panels. Now, you're gonna notice that on the door panels, they did break up the sea of dark material. You have this gray material, and I do like it on the doors. I like the contrast stitching. Very nice touch. This has the upgraded Bose sound system to help you with your tunes, but who's gonna wanna listen to that while you're driving Godzilla? I even like the cargo net pocket. It just gives it that old school JDM feel. I don't know, it just really harks back to a older time. Contrast stitching, all nice soft touch. I like the round AC vents, and I really like what they've done with like a little bit of brushed aluminum trim. Even though it's not brushed aluminum, it looks really good. This is an upgraded 8-inch infotainment system that if you haven't been in a GTR in a while, this has been changed up. The graphics are old, a little old school when it comes to the infotainment, but when you go into the menu, you can see how there's lots of different settings. Of course, it's gonna be touchscreen and all that. We could go into the setting button here. That's all for adjusting your Bluetooth and all those goodies. So that really is really easy to do. Here's my favorite part. Now, you have a full setup where you could customize all sorts of readings into this car. I mean, look at how it's showing you your engine oil temp, coolant temp, transmission oil pressure, transmission oil temp. That shows you what this car is all about. This car is all about performance. What's fascinating, here's a little fun fact. The guy who came up with the graphics and the way that this works when it comes to your performance gauges is the same guy who created Gran Turismo for the original PlayStation. As we work our way down, very simple AC vents. I'm glad that they're not all glitzy. I love the trim with all the stitching. And then look at this, they poured carbon fiber. They spilled carbon fiber all over the center console. This is gonna be shifting that 6-speed DCT. I love the bright red start-stop button. And here are your important R switches. So when you put these into R mode, this is what's going to allow you to take full advantage of all the settings, the suspension settings, performance, how the power is getting down, adjust all the parameters of the nannies, like even the leather. They even put leather around the actual gate for the 6-speed DCT. You do have a directional knob to control your infotainment system. So if you're afraid of touching the screen or touching these buttons, you could do it all right here. Very, very easy to do. 2 cup holders with a nice lid. You got your good old-fashioned e-brake. How many supercars or cars that are supercar worthy have still a good old-fashioned e-brake? So that's a nice sign. Nicely padded armrest. Open it up, you got USB and an aux jack and a 12-volt and felt lining so you don't scratch your gold GTR necklace that you wore back in high school. Love the one-piece seats. I'm not digging the gray on the seats. I wish they would have went a little darker material and kind of trimmed it with, like if this was the gray and this was a darker material, I would have liked it better, but I do like the stitch work. Of course, they're not ventilated or anything like that, but right now, I really don't care. Headliner. This headliner is beautiful. All this nice diamond stitching right here in the center. It's a Alcantara suede headliner. Remember, like I told you before, Alcantara is not the name of the material, it's the name of the company that makes the material. But why don't you get over to the best side, come over to the business end, I'll show you behind the wheel of this GTR. All right, guys, 50th anniversary, let's celebrate. I'm ready to celebrate. You have a unique plaque here on the door sill saying 50th anniversary in case you ever forget that nice GTR logo. This is actually the button for your heated seats. So seats are heated, but like I said, zonk, not ventilated. It's a $125,000 car. You have multi-way adjustability, all-in-one knob to fit it to your body. I'm 6 feet tall. The crazy thing is, even with that sloping roof, I have tons of headroom in here to where I could get a helmet on and do a track day. Let's go do a track day right now. Sebring is about 2 hours away. Let's take this GTR. Steering wheel, I'm not digging the gray on the wheel. This, to me, that's a zonk. I wish it was a darker material. I do like the stitch work, though, on the horn. That very sexy GTR logo. Simple controls, and that's okay. They're flat black. And then when it comes to instrumentation, it doesn't get more simple than that. You got your tach smack dab in the center, speedometer to your left, And then over to your right, you got fuel and coolant. And then of course you have that gear indicator. Of course, that digital display where it's saying that the door is open, very dated. I wish they would have done an update with that. So I am gonna zonk that area. But other than that, I wanna take this home. I really, really do. Now, I'm not doing the back seat. We have done that in another GTR video, and I'll just link that at the end. But I promise you, if you are tall, you're not gonna wanna sit in the back seat. I promise you that. But let's go ahead and check out the trunk and see how usable Godzilla is as a daily driver. All right, guys, if you're thinking to yourself right now, how do I convince my significant other to let me get one of these? This is always the go-to. This is the Radies Rides go-to, the trunk. So as you can see, the opening isn't the largest, but you know what? You have plenty of space in here. You could go get the groceries. Tell your significant other you'll get groceries for the rest of your life. They will never have to step in another grocery store or a Target or a Walmart or anything. And I promise you, they will let you get one of these GTRs. They will give you the thumbs up and say, go get it. But that's what makes this car so usable, is that you're gonna have tons of performance, but tons of usability. Let's get to the best part. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's take this for a spin. All right, guys, we're leaving Moss Nissan. We're in the 2020 GTR 50th anniversary, on throttle, automatic mode. Here we go. Wow, I tell you right now, the sounds coming into this cabin are spot on the money. And I could really feel, especially at low speed, what they did to the DCT. There have been adjustments made to the 6-speed DCT to not only quiet it up, but also smooth out the whole process. When I did my last GTR, I believe it was a 2020 if I remember correctly, it was almost like a tractor feel at slow speed. This thing though, very nice and smooth, feels great. And that was just in automatic mode. We haven't even begun yet to scratch the surface of this GTR. Now, what's really amazing about this car, even with over 500 horsepower, even with a 0 to 60 time of 2.9 seconds with that all-wheel drive, you could drive this every day. I mean, you could literally drive this every single day. Now, one thing I'm not liking about the new infotainment system setup is I miss all the carbon fiber that was around it. They're using this flat black plastic, which just looks a little cheap. I would like the carbon fiber there, especially for $125,000. They did a great job on the center console. I wanted around that infotainment system screen, but the gauges look great with all that carbon fiber. Even with the digital display that's a little dated, it's not bothering me. I promise you that right now. Large paddles on the back of the steering wheel. We are going to be putting this in manual mode, I promise you that. But as we're cruising here, I just want to show you how capable it is of this thing to purr like a pussycat. One other thing that's different about this car is with the all-wheel drive, it mostly acts as a rear-wheel drive car. So you will be able to get some of that slip out of the rear when you're exiting a turn to kind of square off the corner. And it's a totally different system than just like one drive shaft going from the engine to the rear wheels. It's a totally different setup on the GTR, but it works. I think really the biggest problem overall is going to be that it weighs almost 4,000 pounds. And then I think another issue with the GTR is that when you park this next to a Porsche or a McLaren or something like that, it looks downright huge, like massive in size. It's not, you don't call this car sleek by any definition, but what it does deliver is power and performance that's second to none. I do have all the settings in arm mode, so as you can see, I'm bouncing a little bit. It's not the smoothest road, but this is a little stiffer suspension setting. That's what that's going to adjust when you put those different switches into arm mode. But very, very smooth. Steering is so spot on, and it feels like it's just connected to my frontal lobe. It feels really, really good. But I'm going to go ahead and put this into manual mode. The way that you do that is just take the shifter and go to the right, and then it says 6M on the instrumentation, which means that obviously we're in 6th gear and we're in manual mode. Downshifts are very smooth, very quiet. I'm getting some nice burble from the back and some sound coming from the front of the car. Really, really nice. I really even like the thickness of the steering wheel is really great as well. But here we go, a little bit of an acceleration. First gear on throttle. Man, this thing just puts you back in the seat. That's where you feel what a GTR is all about, is going from, a slow roll first gear, wow, into this right-hand bend. Look at this. Wow, wow, wow. On throttle. It's so fast, the shifts are so fast, and then sensation that you get, it really knocks you back in the seat, especially at first gear. It's unbelievable, the power of this car, and the grip. No loss of traction whatsoever. Going in this left-hand bend here, third, second, little pops coming from the rear, really digging how the steering is on throttle. Mind-blowing, the acceleration of this thing. You can really feel the extra work that Nissan has put into this GTR for 2020. Coming out of the corner, wow, unbelievable. Oh my God, this car is amazing, amazing. It's like so wonderful on throttle. Wow. On the brakes, feedback to the pedal is just so superb, and really those large calipers gripping down on those over 16-inch rotors up front. Wow, 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 wow. Look at this. Love it, love it, love it. I'm not ready to go back. We're gonna loop it around and do one more run, so I'll be back in a split second. All right, guys, we're in the GTR. We're gonna slow it down to second gear on throttle. Oh my God. On the brakes, down to second, feeling really good. Turning is nice. Look at this. Oh my God, the grip coming out of the bend. On those brakes, I'm telling you, you can stomp on them and they give you that great feedback that you know you're gonna get. You know that you want. Confidence. This car is nothing but confidence inspiring. Look at this. That came out just a little bit like I predicted. Look at this. Wow. So smooth, so capable. Brakes slowing us down. This car is mind-blowing. Absolutely, positively mind-blowing. On the brakes. Wow. Wow, nice. Look at this. This is nice. Yes! So that's what the GTR is all about, guys. It's mind-blowing. A car almost 4,000 pounds, having that kind of performance, and just repeatedly on the brakes, feels good, you feel in control. That's what's gonna allow you to turn faster laps. Everybody thinks they want more horsepower, more horsepower. This has more horsepower, but still not as much as the Nissan GTR Nismo edition, but yet it inspires confidence, and that's what allows you to go faster. That's what allows you to really feel the benefits, all the work that they did, the extra bracing, the suspension tweaks, the brakes, the whole 9 yards. You feel that as you're going through the different turns of your favorite twisty road, your racetrack, your autocross track. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, guys, this one last blast is just for you. Here we go. First gear, rolling away, nice and smooth. Second gear, on throttle. Wow, 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 wow. Look at this. On the brakes, downshift. Woohoo! So smooth. Here we go. Coming out of the turn. Wow, look at this thing. On the brakes, downshift, second gear. So smooth. You tip it in these tight corners and she just holds. She just holds. Look at this. Wow. The sound, it just, I know I personally would like to have a manual in here, but for right now, I'm enjoying the heck out of this DCT. The 6-speed DCT, they revised it perfectly. I like what they did with the turbos. You're not waiting for a bunch of lag, you know, to go by. There's not a big time of space before the boost kicks in. Just the infotainment, I know the screen's large, but I don't like the black plastic around it. Every time I look down, it doesn't feel Nissan GTR. It feels like Nissan Altima. But we're gonna go ahead and spin this around. We'll see if we go one more time. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, dead stop on throttle. Whoa. I'm scared. Here we go. We're off and running. Wow, wow, wow. On the brakes. Woohoo! Look at this. Turn in. Feels good. Wow. This thing is a blast. We need to get back to Moss Nissan. I'm sure they're wondering where is their GTR, but we're gonna bring it back, and I'm just so glad to take you guys on this ride. So we'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. It's been one of those days here at Moss Nissan that I'm so glad I started Rady's Rides, but I'm even more happy to have you guys all along on the ride with us. Gotta thank David Moss and the rest of the crew here giving us access to this 50th anniversary Nissan GTR. I promise you there is a reason to celebrate. This car is still a top performer, and if you're wondering, well, I'll just wait until next year when they come out with the redesign. Nissan has already admitted that they're not redesigning the GTR totally for quite a few years. So if this is something that you've been dreaming about and you have the means to do it, this might be the perfect time to get your Bayside Blue GTR brand new right from the dealership. But if these are the things you want to keep seeing on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, my own Godzilla. Actually, I call him King Kong. King Kong versus Godzilla. Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner, working the weights, eating the bananas. He's loving this thing as well. But just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.